Hello, I'm Paul O'Kelly, editor of dublinchampion.ie, and here are today's Irish papers for Sunday, August the 18th, 2024. As usual, there's lots of brain candy, but also one serious story today. It's in The Sun, and more about that later. Do you remember the DeLorean? That's the car that launched Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future, but it's also the car that buried a business and its founder, John DeLorean. Well, that very car, described in today's Sunday Times magazine as one of the worst cars ever made, is being relaunched by the late founder's daughter, Kat DeLorean. It'll cost you a mere $1 million a car with a limit of 42, but quite a bit less for a Corvette-based model complete with gull-wing doors. Time travel, Kat tells us, will be an optional extra. Meanwhile, if you're travelling by air, there's more on dire predictions by Ryanair if the planners stick to their proposed passenger limits. All that from Matt Cooper's fascinating profile on the back of the Business Post. Sunday Morning Radio has already dismissed Michael O'Leary's lobbying, saying that planners are not politicians and are therefore not for turning. Really? I imagine that the Ryanair boss believes that anyone, even planners, can be persuaded, preferably by a charm offensive that includes words like incompetent and nincompoop. Lawrence Llewellyn-Bowen also has strong views, in his case, on how designers handle death. I simply cannot bear the way crematoria are decorated, he laments in the Sunday Times, and he echoes the wish of the late Irish painter Francis Bacon, signing off with, "I'd like to be put out with the bins and recycled." That magazine has a fascinating cover montage with 40 photos for 40 years, showing the growth of the ginger-haired Prince Harry, from baby pictures to uniforms to laid-back LA. Speaking of minor celebrities, the Rose of Tralee kicks off tomorrow on RTE1. It's a miracle, apparently, that it's happening at all. Poor Daithí O'Shea is on crutches, and co-star Catherine Thomas is, as she puts it, on the honey and lemon. However, the pair promised to hobble on and bring us the usual festival of females, dubious dances, and the odd howl on a tin whistle. More on pages 10 and 11 of the Mirror. And if roses aren't your thing, the Business Post reminds us that you can see the original James Bond Aston Martin DB5 in Dundrum Town Centre in a show running all next weekend. But the best business story is in the Mail, which goes after big tech in a spread starting on page 6. The Mail calls out the unchecked hatred, lies and libels on platforms like YouTube and Twitter, now X, and of course on Mark Zuckerberg's Meta. According to Holly Carnes of the Social Democrats, it's time to get tough. What we need is a regulator with teeth, she says, a view echoed by Alex Cooney of CyberSafe Kids, who's quoted as claiming that big tech allows children to be exposed to terror, horror and sexual content. In reply, this very channel, YouTube, did in fairness offer a spirited defence of their safeguards. Meanwhile, the Zuckerberg table of Facebook, WhatsApp and Instagram refused to comment. But finally, as promised, that big story in The Sun. It's about Meghan Murphy and her son Paddy, who has scoliosis. Now, young Paddy has been waiting in agony for 4 years for surgery that will straighten his back and ease his pain. Now, I covered this story for years in my old paper, Local News, getting nothing but promises and lies from the ironically named Children's Health Ireland. But in fairness to CHI, they seem to have given up on organising the surgeons and nurses themselves. So now, instead, they're shipping some of those waiting children off to the Portland Hospital in London. At least, they're promising to do so. Now, their ultimate boss, Minister Donnelly, is all over page 14 of the Post talking about productivity. And he did give the CHI a cheque for 17 million precisely to cover children like Paddy. But no, Paddy's mother tells the Sun, I spend my days chasing CHI and keep getting let down with promises of being sent to Portland Hospital. So, CHI can't organise surgery here, but could they at least buy a plane ticket for Paddy? And with 17 million in its back pocket, could they possibly spring for a single day's surgery in Portland Hospital? Apparently not. Time to give up And as I suggested in Dublin Champion just last week, time to find someone else, a kind of surgical sugar daddy. For all these children? No, maybe just for Paddy and his mother. Show up the cruelty of the CHI and the supine passivity of Stephen Donnelly in just one case, and you never know. You might just shame them into action.